Hello and welcome. For those of you who've been to a race meeting, you know that the stars of the show are generally the horses and the jockeys. But what you might not realise is a lot of unsung heroes that help put that race meeting together. The barrier attendants, the strappers, and also the clerk of the course. Who's the clerk of the course, you ask? Well, it's those guys and girls who ride those grey ponies. The ones that help those precocious and unruly sometimes horses get to the gates. Very important job. One such man is Cliff Parker. I caught up with Cliff this week to discuss his career in the saddle as a clerk of the course. Well, Cliff Parker, thanks for sitting down with me and having a chat with me.
It's a pleasure to be invited, Steve, thank you.
You're welcome. Mate, a lot of people might not know exactly what you do on the race course, but your job is just as important as pretty much anyone else on the race course. You're one of the men that ride the white ponies and assist in getting those precocious horses to the stalls when they're big fractures.
Yeah, been going on for quite a while now. I did my first race meeting in March 1976 in Newcastle, and did it part-time. When EI struck, my then mate I was working with, Jake Chidgey, retired, and I've taken it on full-time ever since then.
Well, a lot of people wouldn't realise that you didn't actually start in the horses, and you've got a funny story to tell us about how you did start at.
Yeah, well, I had a pony. Dad bought me a pony when I was 13, and bought it with the saddle and everything else that went with it, and said, "When you learn to ride, I'll give you the saddle." Had some very painful moments for 4 or 5 months leading up. I had to learn riding bareback everywhere with all the kids, and had a great time. A little pony called Shadow, and I had her for a long, long time. Yeah, and through school, I was very lucky to go through school and not have to study much. And when the pressure hit me, when I was about 17, I said to Mum and Dad, "I can't do this anymore." They said, "Well, look, you're not leaving until you get a job."
Yeah. So
I scanned all through Newcastle Morning Herald back in the days when we used to look at a paper to do things, and found a job, hearing aid technician. That's a long way from where I am, but anyway, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Anyway, went down, did the interview, got the job, and that was with Angus and Coote.
Yeah.
So I started out with them for 3 or 4 years, and they closed the hearing aid side down, and then went totally to jewellery as they are now. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do? A hearing aid technician, like, where am I going to find another job? So I had a look around, and there was a place then called the National Acoustics Laboratory, and they fitted hearing aids to pensioners and repats and children under the Commonwealth Government scheme. So I went up there, and there was a bloke there by the name of Brian Bird, and he was the head technician there, and I walked into the front counter and I said, "Do you have any technician jobs here?" And they said, "What sort of technician?" I said, "Hearing aid technician." She said, "Hang on, I'll just get Mr. Bird." So I walked around the corner, and here's Mr. Bird, and he said, "You're kidding me, aren't you?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No one walks in and asks for a job for a hearing aid technician, they don't exist." I said, "Well, mate, I've done 4 years with Angus and Coote, I've got my radio trades course, and I need a job." He looked at me, started laughing, and said, "Can you start tomorrow?" And went from there. Stayed with that particular company. We went from the National Acoustics Laboratory, finished up as Australian Hearing. I was there for 33 years and went from technician to a regional manager. And left with a staff of about 38 people when I left. Yeah, so
amazing.
Big haul, yeah, a lot of fun, and it was great. It was part of history with the turn on, the cochlear implants, all that types of things that we went through with the National Acoustics Laboratory as they advanced through their courses, and they linked with a lot of other hearing impaired people, and it was an amazing thing. It went for quite a while purely for the Commonwealth Government, and then they happened the voucher system, which then let other hearing aid industries in, and so then it became quite competitive. Yeah, it was a great job and a lot of benefit from it, and worked with a lot of lovely children, fitting them with hearing aids. Yeah, very, very enjoyable job.
Excellent.
Yeah, so when I left that, then I virtually took this on full time, so I've been doing this full time now for just on 10 years.
Now, for a lot of rugby league supporters, particularly Newcastle supporters, you had a job for 25 years of the envy of a lot of people. You were the official mascot for Newcastle Knights. Yep. Tell me about that time. Yeah,
just sitting at home one night, and phone rang, and picked up the phone. Didn't know the voice at all, and fella said, "Is that Cliff Parker?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "It's Lee Morn here." I said, "Lee Morn?" I said, "Look, the Lee Morn, like the Newcastle Rugby League Lee Morn." He said, "Yeah." He said, "You want a job?" I said, "Mate, I've got plenty of jobs." No, he said, "Do you want a real job?" He said, we've been throwing a few things about, he said, and we're very interested in having you for the mascot, he said, because we know of your history riding horses and around the race course and that sort of thing. He said, we'd love you to come and be the official mascot for the Knights, and it all went from there. Did the first home game in '88 when they first kicked off their season. I think in that 25 years I only missed 3 home games. Went away a couple of times with the train. We picked up the people from Western Suburbs railway station and walked with them all the way to the field then. I think there was something like, don't quote me, but 20 something carriages came from Newcastle all the way down to the Western Suburbs in Sydney. That was a great day out. We went down to St George and Newcastle Place, and Newcastle lost 3-2 to St George in that game.
Wow.
We were allowed on the ground then. And then we played Cronulla. We went down to Sydney then, and we had the usual, you know what, people in the stand and threw some toilet rolls and ad machine rolls at the horse, and he never blinked an eyelid, but security thought it was too dangerous then, so then I never ever went away from home again.
Right.
I only ever did home games from then on in. Yeah, so yeah, we had a fair bit of fun at home.
Now tell me about the time that some fan attempted to pull you off your horse.
Yeah, that was getting very, very close to the end of my era, and probably 2012 was the time when things completely changed.
Yep.
2011, you know, $500,000 acoustic cables and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
The camera running up and down the sideline, and it just became not dangerous, that horse, because he went anywhere and
Yep.
did anything, that horse. But it just came to a decision where we thought, well, the time has come. We've had a good run. We hadn't had any problem. Yeah, so I used to go along the inside of the fence, and everyone would come down and pat the horse,
Yeah.
mums and kids.
Yeah.
This particular day, 3 or 4 drunks were on the fence, and one of them grabbed hold of the bridle and tried to pull the horse's head across the fence. And I'm not the sort of person to ever get aggro with anybody, but you know, I don't like anyone hurting my horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I swung around and dislodged the guy from the fence, so to speak. Security came from everywhere, and only ever did 1 season after that, and I think we came to a mutual agreement to think that, well, you know, horses just aren't compliant with the situation
Yeah.
there anymore, and so yeah, we moved on. Yeah.
But you did have the honour of leading the premiership winning team Newcastle in 1997, the team bus down the road.
Met them a few kilometres out of town from the workers' club and escorted the bus in. Yeah, that was an amazing thing. I got to the stage where I had probably a metre, just walking down the middle with the bus following me, and some guy handed me a Manly flag on fire. I couldn't do anything with it but hold it, otherwise I would have thrown it down and I caught half the crowd on fire. So, yeah, I let this Manly flag go for about 200 metres till it burnt out, then handed it to some security guard, and then got to the face of the workers' club, and I said, well, Rock, it's about time we left, so we created our own little path down through the crowd and got on the float and went home. Yeah, that was an amazing thing. The memories of that in particular, the parade through the street, you know, probably a month or so later, down through the town hall, and just the crowds and all the guys up on top of out the front of the town hall with the night chant going on, you know, the Newcastle chant. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, but no, I've had some great memories, and you know, Grey Horse has done a lot of things for me.
He has indeed, and one of the best or worst situations you've occurred at Newcastle races would have been Golden Slipper winner Burst escaping down the road. Yeah,
Burst got out, and my partner then, Jake Chidge, and I went through the car park out the main gate, and we could just see the most horrific situation coming up, just thinking what was going to come around every corner. You know, you wouldn't believe it. We come halfway up Adamstown Hill, and he's just sort of standing there, and this fella's walked across and grabbed hold of him, and we've grabbed hold of him, and anyway, we got back to the race course, and I remember a fella saying to me, "How'd you catch him?" I was like, "We just got to the top of the hill, mate, the lights went red and he stopped." Yeah, we put a funny little slope on it, but I don't think Clary would have been impressed.
No, he wouldn't have been impressed at all,
Just brought him back the bridle. I don't think he would have been impressed at all. But anyway, it worked out for the better, and as you just said, he went on to win a slipper, so yeah.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what fascinates me about grey horses, particularly the ones on the race courses, is that they tend to be bomb-proof, and they have to be, really. I've seen some a horse is being led and they're trying to bite the pony's neck and mane, and the white pony, and yours probably the same, just don't flinch.
No, it's one of those things. I do have another funny story actually. When we first started out, back in those days, we did it for love, so to speak, you know. And Ron Tilley said to me one day, he said, "Cliff," he said, "I've got a lovely big grey horse there, Gold Rio." He said, "If you want to come and try him," he said, "come and use him." I said, "Oh, that'd be great, thanks, mate." So I came down here and picked him up and took him home, and we were breaking in a few with my son, and I was using him for a lead pony. He was going unreal, you know, so I thought he's ready to take to the trials. So took him to Newcastle trials. I stood behind the barriers for 2 or 3 and they let him go, and away we went. So I thought, I'll stand him up next to the barriers this time. Anyway, I let him go. I was only behind the field half a length.
He wanted to get on with it.
Off he went. I pulled up panting and carried on, and I went back here, finished the trials. Really, I rang Ron Tilley up. I said, "I don't think his horse is going to be suitable, mate." I said, "He's great for what he is." I said, "but I don't think he's going to go back to being a clerk of the course horse." So from then on, we went to quarter horses and stock horses, and Rocky being the famous one that we used for the footy show inside the Workers' Club. He went up inside the lift, and he was purebred quarter horse. He was just virtually bomb-proof. And then Twix, the one I've used, and you probably haven't realised, Twix was made the 2019 Legend of Royal Easter Show this year.
Right.
For his services to the Royal Easter Show, he'd just done 13 shows in a row, and I just did my 44th show with him as well. So and he's just virtually, he's at home in the paddock now. Now I've got this new one who's a straight Australian stock horse. So I've decided thoroughbreds aren't really what we need.
So how do you find them, Cliff? Do people offer them to you? Do you go out searching for them?
Yeah, I go out searching. This particular horse I got now was in a paddock for 3 years in Dubbo. He was owned by a local vet, and he bought him for the kids, and didn't suit them. They'd just grown out of him. And a friend of mine just said to me one day, "Cliff," he said, "there's a nice grey horse out there near Dubbo Zoo if you want to go out and have a look at him." So I went out and rode him for 5 minutes, put him on the float and brought him home, and that's the one I've got here today.
Wow. Wow.
Lovely pony, does a good job.
And they work tremendously hard on a race day, don't they? I mean, they're parading when the horses are in the enclosure, then they go out to the stalls, then they're cantered back, and the same procedure over again for something like 8 or 9 races. So they have to be pretty well fit.
And then we get trials where we can do 15 to 22. We've done, not just recently. But that's why you got to look for that temperament. If they don't have the temperament, and they're in a hurry to get everywhere, then they knock themselves around. Like those 42-degree days we had, they do it tough. Out in the heat. Fair enough, I'm not saying the racehorses don't, but they're out there for a couple of minutes.
Correct.
Our blokes are out there for 5 or 6 hours in that heat. It's a fair bit for them. So the temperament's got a lot to do with it. And I wouldn't be annoyed, I shouldn't say, that if my horse did bite or kick another horse, because what they put up with on a day, as you just mentioned, is some days are horrific. Cessnock's a big testing day for them.
Have you ever had any of your horses injured?
Yes. I'm probably going back 30 years ago now. I got kicked in the knee by a horse called Gentle Annie. And when she kicked him, she kicked my horse as well and opened him up, and he had stitches just in behind his girth.
Right.
And then back in the days when I also used to clerk at the trots, when we had the timber gigs, I picked up a trotter with a broken gig, and the gig went up between his back legs and opened him up, and he got 20 odd stitches. But other than that, that's about the only injuries I've had in all that time, so it's been pretty good. But they do get kicked, and we end up with a bit of bruising or a bit of swelling, but 9 times out of 10 they're right within a couple of days. How
long do you see yourself doing this sort of job?
I just turned 65, so if I can be happy and healthy till I'm 70, I think that'll do it.
Wonderful.
I've got a wife and a caravan at home that's scratching to go somewhere every weekend, and I've always got something on. So in the next few years, I'm sure we'll start to slow down a little bit.
Well, Cliff, it's been great to catch up with you, and I class you as well as the barrier attendants, as well as the horse handlers, the strappers. You're some of the unsung heroes of the racetrack that we don't often highlight, and I'm glad to be able to sit down to you and talk to you about your past and what you've contributed to this industry.
Very much appreciated.
Thanks
for your time. Thank you.